Hi there and welcome to the pilot episode of ThinkTank. My name is Nick Fine, your host, compere and all-round critic for this series of videos. The whole idea about ThinkTank really is just to get some new thinking out there, some fresher thinking, and to discuss the really important topics that affect us all in digital. The big problem, as we all know, is that there's just a lot of lies and misinformation, fake news in the world today. In UX and product in particular, we're seeing an absolute flood of people who are all claiming to be experts. And this is some of the biggest problems that we have, because some of the people who I know who are really experts don't even call themselves experts. And these are people who have been doing it for a decade or more. So I've got no idea how some of these people think that they can just rock up to our profession and call themselves an expert. That's a problem. The bigger problem is that these people then start publishing and hiring. And this is why we are now seeing huge problems across digital. And this is irrespective of the pandemic. Digital has been on a toxic collision course for about 4 or 5 years now, and it's just getting worse. The problem is this: there is no gatekeeping, and it means that anybody can literally lie on their CVs, lie or misrepresent themselves at interview. And there are a lot of people who are in positions of leadership or management or even mentorship who are in no way qualified or experienced to do that. They don't have the right to mentor people when they don't have the practitioner experience themselves. It's a really big problem for me, and it's a huge problem for you. And I get calls and mails and messages all day, every day, from juniors, mids and seniors, all asking for mentorship or asking for help as to where they can get mentorship or where they can really improve themselves and sort of professionally develop themselves. And they can't get it at work. This is the problem, and that's ridiculous, right? We should have these supports and this mentorship as standard in places of work. You shouldn't have to move job or come to me or any of my peers to get the experience and the support that you need as a developing practitioner. So what this means is if you've got lots of people who think they're experts who aren't, and they're in these positions, they're blocking people like me from getting into these positions. And I've lost out on interview opportunities because I've been truthful on my CV and lost out to people who haven't been truthful. So what happens is you see all this repetition of going on, and the trajectory means that we're just not getting the information that I need to share with people to them. So I'm going to use ThinkTank as a means of getting these thoughts out there. If they're stolen, I don't care. That's really the idea here, I suppose, is nick these ideas, make the corporate world, the digital world, a better place. This is really where we're going now. So there's going to be a mix of different stuff on the channel here. I'm literally winging it, making this up as I go along. There's so much that I'd like to do and to share, but really I'm kind of guided by you guys. There's no point me putting the stuff out that I think if no one wants it. So at least the first 3, 4, 5 episodes are going to be really experimental. I want to be able to record stuff to camera like this just quickly and easily, no major editing, get the stuff out there quickly and regularly. So that's one, and that'll be kind of like a vlog diary stuff that you may or may not be interested in my thoughts or the day that I've had. It might be too me-centric and not digital-centric enough. But let's try that out. That's one avenue I'm going to try. Then, of course, there's the factual-based stuff, the tutorials and masterclasses. I'll do that. I won't do that regularly because that requires a ton of work. I'm going to need to put a deck together and all of that. And that's sort of conference level delivery, and I don't mind doing that as a kind of a special occasion thing, a special edition, whatever you want to call that, but I can't commit to doing that on a weekly basis. It's also worth mentioning right now that I'm about to start a new gig next Monday, so it's easy to do that, all this stuff, and get it set up right now, but once the gig starts on Monday, I'm going to be a busy boy, and it won't be so easy. So in order to be able to update this and to keep it fresh and new publications coming out regularly, it's got to be low effort. So vlogging, yes, regularly. The topical based sort of masterclass stuff on occasion, or once a month or every couple of weeks, whenever one can get around to doing that. The other thing that I want to do are evaluations and assessments, because as you see, I do kind of bellyache a little bit on LinkedIn about some dodgy interactions that we have, dodgy experiences. It's not about me going, look how amazing I am, I'm calling out all these morons. It absolutely is not that. What I want to show you is the kind of the thinking behind that challenge, because that's the important part. And that's what I don't think enough people have got enough filters or sensors for, is to sense some really bad interaction design. So that's kind of the mix of what I'd like to get up to. That's really where we're at. So I'd like you to let me know what you think. Any kind of special requests or anything that's of interest to you, let me know. But like I said, for the first 4 or 5 episodes, I'm just going to sort of plug on away and see where we get. And I'm just going to learn by failure and success. It's the only way is to rapidly iterate. I would imagine within 10 episodes, I should have a pretty good format, pretty good style, and understanding what you guys want and how I can meet that. And finally, why am I sitting in front of my drum kit? Because that's a bit kind of ostentatious or naff. Learning to play drums is a skill. It's a really difficult skill. I've been playing for about, well, regularly now for about 4 or 5 years, and I'm still really rubbish. You can't really teach an old dog new tricks, but that my neuroplasticity is not the issue here. Drumming or playing violin or anything else is a skill, okay? And I'm going to use this as an example for UX, and this is really for the juniors and the mids out there and anybody new coming to UX. I've been doing this for 5 years. I've had a mentor, a teacher who can actually show me where I'm going wrong. But ultimately, to get good with a drum kit requires just several hours of grinding. Thousands of hours of hitting the practice pad, practicing your rudiments, singles, doubles, paradiddles, flams, all of this stuff. Practicing to music, then you've got to practice on your stamina. You've got to practice on your, with a metronome, your timing, your dynamics. Your groove. There are so many different elements to drumming. And this is exactly the same is true of UX. Whether you're on the design side, the research side, more strategic, or some combination of all of these. You have to learn a whole bunch of different skills and practice them and get them practiced in the actual environment, in the actual context of use. So in the field, in the lab, in the studio, wherever you are, working with people, clients, anybody. There's no shortcut to that. There's no way you can get good at UX in any form if you haven't done it a lot. And that is the bottom line. And there's anyone who tells you differently is lying to you. If you want to get evidence of that, look at all the seniors and the leads out there who you respect, who do really good work. They've all got 10 years on them, at least. And the reason why they're confident and competent at that is because it takes at least 5 or 6 years. At least. You start to really get it all comes together around year 8 is the magic year. But it takes about a decade to get really expert or competent at this stuff. And even then, no one's expert in this. And that's the real truth. I've got some expertise, some specialist subjects that I'm really good at, like e-commerce, funnels, and optimization. I'm really great at. But even still, I'm constantly learning. The technology is constantly moving. So like drums, if somebody said to you, I can put you on a boot camp to teach you how to play like Steve Gadd or Jeff Porcaro or John Bonham within 2 weeks or 8 weeks, that's never going to happen. And when you rock up to a gig or to some kind of job with a boot camp and pretend to play like John Bonham, it's embarrassing because the senior drummers are all going to laugh at you. So this is kind of what's happening. So the important part is that we get the mentorship happening and that we get people who really know what they're doing from experience to be able to share that with you guys. That means you're going to get the right information that's going to help guide your career in the right way. Now, there's something that I'm working on with a couple of colleagues, friends of mine, to fill this gap. It's still on the launch pad, but I will absolutely let you know. But if you're not getting the mentorship that you want, watch this space. I've got a very cool idea, or we've got a very cool idea that we're working on, and hopefully we can bring it to fruition shortly. I think that's about all I wanted to say for right now. This has definitely been a pilot and a kind of a test. I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. Let me know what you think, anything you'd like to see or hear, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Goodbye.
you.